Ba-da-boom! Boom! Cameras, lights, action. It is that time for my top 30 albums of 2018. I like to wait all the way through December to make sure every single album gets a fair shot. I'm all about equity on this channel. But before we get going, let's get to some honorable mentions, of which there were many this year. Of course, when you're naming favorites lists, you're also simultaneously excluding many other albums, but there is a list that extends to top 50 down there in the description if you want to see that. First, we'll get to Winter Stories by Fabrizio Patterlini, the gorgeous sparse piano record. This guy is an Italian composer and label owner. Also want to mention Carey. I think his name is Sean Carey. His album 100 Acres. This guy was the Bon Iver backup singer and drummer, I think. So very much in that kind of woozy indie rock style, but a very soothing, calming record. And then finally I'll mention the French-Canadian math rock band Zouz with their second EP just called EP2. Definitely one of the most exciting and unique albums out of math rock that I've heard in 2018. Kicking things off, the number 30 slot is a genre I don't typically cover on the channel, but gotta throw some curveballs at you once in a while. It's some classical guitar from Portugal, Filho Da Mae, with the album Agua Ma. What a killer album this is. Definitely complex, but digestible at the same time, and it does a great job of not sacrificing feeling for technicality. I do have some go-to guitarists. William Tyler is probably one of my favorites. And then in high school, I listened to a lot of people in the style of like Andy McKee. And then some older classics like John Fahey or Leo Kottke, but otherwise this is still pretty new to me. But I've had Agua Ma on in my office at least once a week. I love the way he presents a theme and then he just tinkers with it and plays with it with all these subtle variations. It's just great stuff. Toronto-based backup singer Isla has come to the foreground with her album The Becoming at number 29. Isla has a very soft and classic voice with just enviable breath support and this effortless vibrato like Laura Marling. The Becoming has a very folksy, traditional feel on songs like Bird of Paradise or Faraway Blue, but it's very eclectic. You're gonna get some R&B vocals, you're gonna get psychedelia, some trip hop, even some dub and electronic stuff. There's enough variation and transitional instrumental pieces throughout the album to keep things fresh, to keep things interesting. It's a great example of pacing on an album. Last year I had the amazing opportunity to go on the trip of a lifetime to Scandinavia, to Norway, and to Denmark with my wife and my brother-in-law and his wife. By far, my favorite city was Bergen or Bergen, Norway. And number 28 is straight out of Bergen, following in the footsteps of Aha and that great enchanted synth-pop Norway tradition. It's Waves to You by Young Dreams. I think this album scratches the Tame Impala Currents itch better than any album since. Terrible band name, but some blissful tunes. Man, some great tracks on this thing. My favorites are Cells and My Brain on Love. At number 27 is a sneaky, deceptive album. It's one that with its stuttering beats and constant mathematical shifts disguises as an electronic album. But no, it's all acoustic instruments. It's Matt Calvert with Typewritten. The painstaking, fastidious work this thing must have taken, I can't imagine. There are mandolins and xylophones and strings and acoustic guitars and a kitchen sink of other instruments that went into making this collage of an album, and the finished product is equally soothing and intricate. It has a very charming, mysterious sound. Matt's a member of the head-scratchingly complex experimental rock band Three Trapped Tigers, so the ambition, the audacity behind this really does make sense. You can't miss it. Fave tracks are near the end, You or Me and the closer Ghost Ship. At number 26 is an album I reviewed back in May. It's the #1 Man and Soul in 2018. Leon Bridges with, what's the album called? Something about good stuff. Good thing. This album's a lot more diverse than the very derivative debut, in my opinion. It's got curveballs all over the place, like the Kendrick Lamar jazz of Bad Bad News or Lions, but also some classic home cooking sounds of Misses and Beyond. Yeah, I think there are some misses with some of the sugary pop on the back half. I just feel like Leon has a little more bite on this thing, and it's definitely moving in the right direction. The song Forgive You is perfect. At number 25 is the Irish songwriter Conor O'Brien with his most cutting-edge project under the Villagers' name. It's The Art of Pretending to Swim. The Villagers has always relied on this very bucolic, very pastoral folk songwriting style that, in my opinion, just never really pushed outside of its bubble. But this album's just as elegant as anything else he's ever done, but it boasts a more cultured sound and really flexes Conor's producer muscles. The opening song again does the finger-pick guitar thing, but ends up feeling more like a dance track with the chilly synth and that vocal sample and the rimshot snares. Sweet Savior follows the same formula and just kills me with that chord change in the bridge every time. Parts of it remind me a lot of Claudio Sanchez's The Prizefighter Inferno project, with this mashup of lo-fi electronics and a folk sound, and the two of those together, especially on the songs like Real Go Getter or like Long Time Waiting. Fave tracks are of course Sweet Savior and the beautiful closer Ada. Finally at 24 we get something a little bit punkier, a little less dreamy, a little closer to the ground than anything else up to this point. It's another one I covered earlier in the year. It's the self-titled sub-pop breakthrough album from the New Jersey band Fourth Wanderers. Front lady Ava Trilling has a very Rat Boys or very Phoebe Bridgers sort of tone, but with the strange inflection of Andy Schauf. Along with her voice, the nimble guitar work totally makes this thing. Along with the strokes-like way that the guitar and the vocals harmonize. It's just piercing, sometimes a little dissonant. This album totally beats out Snail Mail and Soccer Mommy. Fight Me. At number 23 is an album I reviewed, and it really did grow on me since that time. It's the true psych pop darlings MGMT, back at it. Electric Feel might be a relic of the past, but this band's still kicking, and in my humble opinion, this is their second best album. It just sinks so deep into my synapses, this dark synthwave. Synthwave synapse. Say that 5 times fast. Synthwave synapse, synthwave synapse, synthwave synapse, synthwave. Talk about memeable songs. She Works Out Too Much. Me and Michael is the undeniable John Hughes-worthy gem. And When You Die is the best song here. Just fight me again. Don't you dare forget about him. My cat, by the way, hates this album. Not sure what it is. Bad Frequencies. The best chill hop of 2018 goes to Joey Pecораro's Music for Happiness. And at number 22, this album is exactly that, just instantly gratifying and unabashedly pleasant. I don't think it's meant to be much deeper than study music, but this is one of the most lush and rich albums in this genre and in this style I've ever heard. I love the old movie conversations and the snippets of opera in there and the loungy piano. It's very warm. Check out the band Lemon Jelly for more of this kind of stuff. Oakland Dream Pop artist is at number 21. It's Madeline Kenney with Perfect Shapes. This one was produced by Jen Wasner of Wyoke. The album comes across as really an escape to an idyllic, simple place. And it all starts with the cover, which juxtaposes this very austere Pied Mondrian-esque frame against the front with this very placid greenhouse scene with Madeline's little silhouette head just in there kind of sticking above the brambles. And the lyrics are clearly about escape in some form, whether it's from a stultifying artistic place that she lived or a toxic relationship. This thing almost sounds like the indie rock version of a Balearic dance music album, which is so cool. Some gorgeous harmonies and dense layering that reveals itself over multiple listens. Highly recommend. Yeah, 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 yeah. And number 20 is another cerebral experience, but with a moodier, darker attitude. It's Dre Babinski's project Steady Holiday with their second album, Nobody's Watching. The song Mothers is so good, exploring this eternal theme that's very biblical from the from the Gospels about the difficulty of doing good deeds in secret when nobody's watching. The song slinks along like a Siamese cat, but also hugs you with this tender warmth. The theme of being altruistic with some secret prideful hope of getting credit for it really matches well with the musical beguiling going on here. I love the disco-infused Love and Pressure, the lovely waltz, Desperate Times. This album can be a little bit hit or miss, with more misses coming in the second half, but the highs are real high. And I'm just captured by the brooding mystery of it. The adventurous comeback sophomore record from the French psych master Melody Prochet is at number 19. It's Melody's Echo Chamber with Bon Voyage. This was a dream collaboration for me. Melody and Dungen, or really just any band and Dungen, is a dream collab. They're probably my favorite psych rock band, and they just bring so much to what I thought was a pretty generic sound that Melody had going on her first album. Visceral and catchy, you know, very immediate, but it wore thin with monotony as it went on. It just didn't have the longevity. Bon Voyage is way riskier, and that totally makes sense after she had a near fatal accident, you know, that she would just come back with a reckless abandon ready to make something real grandiose. It ends up being a tad short, even though it's packed with zany ideas and experiments, and that's the only reason it's not a little higher on the list. It's an amazing album on headphones, seriously. At number 18 is an album I could probably only categorize by psychedelic soul. It's Kadhja Bonet with Childqueen. This album is pretty weird, but it also just draws you in right away. There's something really just mesmerizing about her tone and her overall delivery. Favorite tracks are Joy and Wings, and Delphine. That is such a unique song. You gotta check that one out. Everything I want to say about number 17 is in my review of the album. This is the best working prog metal band in the world right now, in my opinion. It's Haken with Vector. More technical and heavy than Affinity, but just a power play, just a punch. Raw power and skill rarely get me on an album, but they are juggernauts on Vector. Pop, 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 pop. Wrapping up this list with number 16, yeah. Rounding out the first half of this top 30 list is a Khruangbin sound-alike that outdid Khruangbin in my book this year. If I was gonna wake up to an album for the rest of my days, it might be this one. That is the debut album Mint from the Norwegian trio Orion's Belte. Every guitar melody on this thing is top notch, where they combine this bedroom psych delay and this dubby numbing bass and some blues riffs and some silky pedal steel just for good measure. Like Khruangbin, they do throw out some vocals once in a while, but they serve more as just background ornamental stuff rather than the typical rock and roll frontman style. This has got some grooves throughout it with way more melodic sensibility than you'd expect from a guitar nerd. Super lucky find this year. Top 15 will be up very, very soon, so get ready for that. And I didn't try to make this as diverse as it ended up being, which is so awesome. I feel like that's just the musical landscape we live in 2018, with so many different genres. And this really is just my top 30 albums of the year, the ones I return to most and the ones I appreciate the most for many different reasons. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.